Now you've thrown a monkey wrench into everything, Ken. Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to our Agent Jumpstart today. I am your host, Anthony, and I am partnered with the Rancho Southeast Association of Realtors, even though I do work as well, or an employee of Orange County Realtors. Just to tell you a little bit about who I am, my name's Anthony. I am a senior technology trainer or instructor here at the association. I've been working with Orange County Realtors and Rancho Southeast Realtors for close to 20 years. I am part of their outreach program. Basically, the outreach program is designed to give training to real estate agents, not only at the associations, but abroad, giving them training at their offices and things like that. I train on MLS, how to run searches, how to modify a listing, create CMAs. And for those of you who don't know what a CMA stands for, it stands for Comparative Market Analysis. I'm also a Zip Forms certified trainer. Now, what Zip Forms is, and you probably have heard that term thrown around a little bit, this is your state provided member benefit by California Association of Realtors to put together your transactions electronically with all your contracts. You have access to more than 395 plus forms to buy, sell, lease properties in the state of California. This is the tool to help you put that together. We're going to demonstrate that a little bit today, how to log on, how to create a transaction, and how to add forms and modify a form a little bit. I also am Paperless Pro certified, meaning I've taken special courses to be able to instruct agents how to go paperless in their business. And usually what I personally mean by that is that I get it. You can't get rid of paper fully, but maybe get rid of enough of it by utilizing your tech to make your transactional lives a lot easier. It's all about ease of use. Nowadays, with agents with their cell phone devices, tablet devices constantly with them, they are able to do things that they couldn't do 10, 15, even 20 years ago, way easier. Putting together transactions, getting onto the multiple listing service, hosting live webinars or Zoom meetings or Facebook Lives from properties to walk people through properties. And really that came to fruition back in, 2020, when the pandemic first hit us. So a lot of agents really gravitated to this tech that has really elevated their business, and thankfully they've stayed with it. I also have received my NAR, National Association of Realtors designation called ePro. Basically, this is how you can market yourself on social media, electronically, on your website, things like that. A really great designation if you're into that sort of thing, to maybe just show people that you really like using technology to advance your real estate business. And I'm also an RPR, Realtor Property Resource Certified Trainer. This is also an NAR product, National Association of Realtors product, that allows you to look at tax data on listed and unlisted properties, both for residential and commercial, not just in the state of California, but nationwide. You have access to more than 66 million properties in the United States that you can pull up and look at if you choose. And what's really interesting is that Realtor Property Resource does have, depending on the area, some MLS data. So you can actually get in touch with another agent in another state and maybe give them a referral fee, or maybe they pay you a referral fee for referring a client who wants to maybe buy out of state. So it's a way of being able to stay connected. All right. So what we're going to do today, besides going over a lot of your tech tools and a lot of your tech training, the first half of what we're going to do today, if there are no immediate questions, is how everything ties together. Okay. So just what to expect today. We're going to go over briefly what the National Association of Realtors is, what the term realtor actually means, what the state California Association of Realtor association provides to you as a real estate agent, not just zip forms, but other benefits as well. We're going to demonstrate those a little bit. And of course, what Rancho Southeast Association of Realtors provides in the terms of MLS access, accessing lockboxes using a key system called Supra, and of course, other additional benefits and resources. And given some time today as well, I'd love to demonstrate how to run a search in the MLS, how to set up an auto email for a client, how to make a saved search, and of course, how to access some other benefits of CRMLS directly. Okay. Excuse me here. I've got the sniffles. I don't know where this came from. I think the crazy weather, but I apologize for that. So if I sound a little nasally, I apologize. Now, for those of you who aren't currently licensed, or maybe in Lori's case, you are licensed, so you're kind of asking yourself, well, what's my next step? I just want to show you this nice little chart on how everything ties together. Here, we're starting at step one, getting your California real estate license from the DRE, Department of Real Estate. From there, you're going to hang your license under a responsible broker, somebody who says that, hey, I'm going to train you specifically on the do's and don'ts. I'm going to look out for you and make sure that you're practicing right so as not to get into trouble. So responsible broker is where you're going to hang your license. Now, what you're going to then do is ask your broker, okay, what association do I need to join in order to access all of these benefits to be able to buy, sell, lease properties for a client? Well, they're probably going to tell you to go to a particular association. Now, here in Cerritos, you've got Rancho Southeast Association of Realtors, but here in the state of California, there are more than, I think, 40 different associations statewide that you can belong to. Each of them belong maybe to a group of MLSs or different MLS systems. But when you join the association like Rancho, you'll not only get access to CRMLS, which is the MLS system that Rancho is part of, whereby you can access more than 200,000 plus properties in this database, as well as connect with more than 90,000 agents, part of CRMLS. CRMLS is the largest MLS database in the United States. Again, with more than 90,000 realtor agents, more than 200,000 listings that you can access going back about 20 years for data. It's a great system to belong to. Now, depending on your broker, if your broker is a full board realtor brokerage, then you're also going to join the state association as well, all from one joining source, which is the local association. Here, California Association of Realtors will provide you state provided benefits like zip forms and other tools, which we'll talk about today. And of course, you'll also belong to the National Association of Realtors. The National Association of Realtors is your federal level association, whereby you're going to access different tools, classes, and information regarding the nation. So with that said, Rancho Southeast Association likes to think of you being brand new to the business, that you don't have to be out there alone. Basically, our commitment to you is that we're going to help you sharpen your skills to be competitive in today's tech-driven market. So we're going to do that by providing you classes, giving you advice, showing you how to do things correctly, and of course, technically, in order to keep up to date with everybody else. Okay, we believe, or we like to say, that no real estate agent should be left behind, especially when it comes to technology, which is why we have the outreach program, which is designed to give you this type of training for being our member. And those trainings are absolutely for free. Now, starting with the National Association of Realtors, or what we like to call, it's by its acronym NAR. NAR is America's largest trade association of real estate professionals, with more than 1.5 billion members nationwide. Last year, it was at 1.4. So they just added in another 100,000 agents just this year alone, or I should say in 2021. So there are a lot of real estate agents today. Now, we are going to go at some point to the website, www.nar.realtor. There, we're going to see what type of news is affecting your industry. We're going to be able to do research, market and education resources to help assist you in your business. There's also a government affairs division at NAR that will fight for or against federal policies that help strengthen the ability of Americans to be able to buy, sell real estate property. Okay. There are laws that are coming down the pike that are affecting how real estate agents do business, as well as how people can own or rent their properties. Some of these laws are good. Some of these laws are bad. NAR is a big advocate for fighting for and against certain laws that may harm home ownership or real property rights. So this is something that you always want to be apprised of, because these are great talking points to somebody who's a potential homeowner or current homeowners that just need to be aware of certain laws that are happening federally. Now, the biggest thing here with being a real or being a member of NAR is the term realtor. Now, not everybody is a realtor. This is only reserved for those people who belong to the National Association of Realtors. This is their registered trademark. Okay. It identifies you as a real estate professional who's the member of the National Association of Realtors. Now, by the way, it's pronounced realtor, not realtor, as some people like to pronounce it. They like to stick an A in between the L and the T for some reason. So it's just realtor. Okay. Anybody who's not pronouncing realtor correctly, somebody's going to correct you at some point in time. So just avoid that. Okay. Now, what's the big deal about a realtor? Number one, only professionals who belong to the National Association of Realtors or NAR can use the term realtor in their marketing. They can only use that, or they're allowed to use the Realtor R trademark in their marketing as well. But really, what this holds you up to is a standard of what they like to call the Code of Ethics. There are 17 articles of the Code of Ethics that realtors are held to a standard. Basically, all about how they should be practicing, what they should and should not be doing in their business. Basically, agent to client relations, agent to public relations, and of course, agent to agent relations. So each of these articles or groups of articles go over that. Now, if I may, I'm just going to go directly to nar.realtor. And if you want to follow along, you can. Here at nar.realtor, this is their main website. We've got some nice little information here right at the top. You know, how many realtors there are in the United States, things like that. What you want to look for here is basically real estate topics, things regarding residential and commercial real estate property, marketing topics that you want to maybe look at so you can learn a little bit more about prospecting. Social media is great. So here, if we click on this, they've got some nice little fun articles about staying connected, trademark use on social media, news articles, social media for realtors, a nice little class here that you can spend about $33 on to take that class if you want. Other topics, marketing topics, things dealing with coronavirus, being a real estate professional. Here, research and statistics, information that you can utilize for marketing. So as an example here, if we go to the state and metro data areas, we can look at affordability index, things like that. So maybe here in California, and that's Nevada. I don't want Nevada. There we go. So here we got the state by state economical impact article, affordability distribution. You can just simply click on that particular article and it's going to open up and tell you some information, which is really great to stay in touch. Advocacy, basically, this is the governmental affairs department. Take political action, find out what laws are coming down the pike on the federal level that NAR is fighting for or against. Most importantly for you guys, education. Here under the education tab at NAR, designations and certifications. Now, designations and certifications are important because this is special education allowing that you could take in order to show the public that you are a specialist in a particular field within real estate. There are many designations. And by the way, just because you get one doesn't mean you can't get multiple. Okay. You have things like the ABR, Accredited Buyers Representation. What this basically is a designation saying that you've gone through certain special training courses to be a buyer specialist, or to show that you are a specialist working with buyers of real estate property. Here you also have one called Accredited Land Consultant. Basically, you're a specialist in land, lot, real estate. You also have one for commercial, the CCIM, the Certified Commercial Investment Member. Here you're working with commercial investors. So if you want to take your real estate career and the commercial side, you could do that. But one really big one that a lot of agents seem to shoot for always, but not all of them get it, is called the GRI, the Graduate Realtor Institute. Now, the GRI designation basically is a 1 year long course where you're taking multiple classes to basically learn the entire industry in depth. I've known many an agent to go for this, but not all of them get it because it does take a lot of time and a lot of effort. And in some cases, it's taken people multiple years in order to get the designation. Just depends on how much time and effort they put into getting this, but it can be done. On average, it takes about a year. And Ken, I do believe you've got your GRI, don't you?
Yeah, it took me 10 months. I went
And
once a month to each classes.
which is great, right? And did you sell real estate during that time?
Yeah, and it was pretty great because it kind of rehashed more in detail the principles, practice, and legal aspect classes. Basically, all the broker classes I took at Fullerton College. So
That's awesome. Now, basically, all you need to do after you become a realtor, if you want to get a designation, just click on a designation that strikes an interest in you, read a little bit about it, and they'll tell you exactly how to earn it, what's required, and of course, it'll tell you what courses you need to take, how much it's going to cost you to take it. And by the end of the day, you can have that as on your business cards and your marketing materials that you're a GRI designated realtor, which just means that you're that much more educated than the average realtor. Now, speaking of code of ethics, I just want to show you guys that one real quickly here under the education, the code of ethics. Here under the code of ethics section. Oh, and actually we'll just search for code of ethics because I just want to show you the articles. There we go. So here under the code of ethics, and whoops, I wanted to click on the 2022 version because they always bring out a new version of the standards and practices. Here under the code of ethics, you got again 17 articles, duties to your client and customers. The next, and of course, under each article, you have sub-articles on how to conduct your business. Then you of course have how a realtor and what their duties are to the public and being truthful and honest in all of their communication and about a property, about themselves, about other agents, things like that. And then of course, you also have articles on your duties on how to handle other realtors in your business. Basically, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Treat everybody with the utmost respect. Don't make false or misleading statements, things like that, that can get you into trouble for just being, practicing bad business practices. These are your business practices that you were held accountable to for being a realtor. So these are important. you're going to have to take a course when you become a realtor on all these code of ethics. And of course, you're going to get tested on it, which I do believe you have to pass it within 80%, not only for your license renewals, but even for when you join the association, you have to show that you've taken this special course from NAR. So these are real big things here for you. Now, one also nice thing here is also, I do believe, if I can find it, you have access to podcasts from NAR, other programs like fair housing, safety, infographics are great because you can download them and share them with your clients or share them with potential clients to go over what's happening in a particular area or in the country. And here we've got a nice little infographic, and we have the ability to share this in our advertisement. So things to talk about. All right. Now, this leads us into California Association of Realtors, the state, or CAR. California Association of Realtors, or CAR, is the statewide association of the National Association of Realtors. And its purpose is to serve its members in developing and promoting programs and services that's going to enhance you and give you the freedom and the ability to conduct your own individual business successfully. Okay. So you're going to be able to go to their website at www.car.org. There you're going to have news articles and tools and transaction processes and contracts and legal advice, all these other benefits that are at the state level to help you in your real estate career. Okay. So here, if we really quickly jump over to CAR's website, and Ken, I know you said you wanted to leave questions for the end, but am I going too fast for anybody?
Class, is this the right amount of tempo? Can I get a thumbs up, or can I at least get a thumbs up, or just a response for that?
It's good.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right.
Okay.
Good.
All right.
Huzzah. Yay. All right. So here at www.car.org, California Association of Realtors, this is where we can look at news and updates, articles regarding COVID, what the state's doing or mandating to the realtors, and what CAR's advice is to realtors on how to handle the COVID restrictions, things like that. A couple of nice things here real quickly. And then I'm going to, I'm going to show you some really nice things. Number one, the person sitting in the chair, as you see here, is a realtor. This is Frank Abadessa. He works in Seal Beach, or is based out of Seal Beach. He's been a CAR member since 2011. So he's an 11-year veteran. Now, what's interesting about this is that if I were to refresh this page, hopefully, here's another real estate agent. So CAR likes to promote their realtors. Now, you may ask yourself, well, how do I get into this chair on CAR's website for anybody of the public to be able to find a realtor? Well, that's easy. After you join, what you can do, because this is all going to be considered free advertising for you, for realtors, is that you can come here to car.org's website, click on the person's name that's sitting in the chair here, and then click on the choice here that says submit an application. Here you can fill out your information, like your email address, who you are, and CAR will reach out to you and say, come to our offices here in LA, and we'll do a photo session with you, and you can sit in that chair and we'll put you in the rotation. So that way, maybe a month or two goes down the road, and then when you come to car.org's website, you're going to see yourself sitting in this nice little egg chair. So people will get to recognize your name. And I've seen members less than 1 year here sitting in this chair. And again, it's free advertisement. I don't know why more agents don't take advantage of this. 250,000 realtor agents in the state of California. I want to say there's less than 30 that appear here on this chair on a regular basis. So Take advantage of things that other agents aren't doing. Now, another nice thing here with CAR is that you have a member benefit called the legal hotline. CAR, California Association of Realtors, offers free legal advice to all of their realtor members. So here we can go in, log into our account. Here we can see their hours of operation, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., Saturday hours, 10 a.m. to 2. We can give them a call, ask them a question on a particular transaction that we're just not sure how to handle, or maybe ask them what contracts I might need, or even better yet, what do I need to say on a contract based on my situation? And CAR attorneys are there to help you and will answer all of your questions. Now, there's also a really interesting thing here that CAR legal, or the CAR legal department also does. There will be a time, at least once in your real estate career, that you're going to be in a transaction with someone. And for some strange reason, you might think, or you might feel that somebody legally isn't doing something correctly, and you need to understand what legal recourses you might need to do or take in order to protect your client. And heaven forbid, your broker is not available to get those questions answered in a timely fashion. If you give CAR a call, their legal department a call, 213-739-8282, and they take your name and you give them the property address that's in question, even though this is a benefit for every realtor in the state of California, if you call about a particular situation on a particular property to get legal advice, that will lock the CAR attorneys to you. So, as an example, Ken and I are in escrow. I represent the seller. Ken represents the buyer. We do our paperwork, we get into escrow, and during the course of the escrow period, I start to play some shenanigans. Maybe, the TDS or the transfer disclosure statement isn't done correctly, or, we're really delaying on our release of contingencies. And Ken, being a relatively new agent, just doesn't know what he can do in order to push us to close escrow, right? Or push us to release our contingencies. What Ken can now do is give CAR legal hotline a call and they'll advise him. Now, at the same time, Ken calls them at like 9 in the morning and talks to them. Now, they give him whatever advice, tells him whatever contracts he needs to do in order to, help protect him and his clients. Now, at 10 o'clock or 10:30, or even at 9:15, I give CAR legal hotline a call. Now, because CAR has asked Ken, what address are you in escrow on? If I give them a call and I say, hey, I'm in, escrow on this particular property address, CAR attorneys are going to look at that and say, whoa, Tony, I'm sorry, but Ken has already called us to get legal advice on this property. So unfortunately, we can't help you and advise you on what you should do because it would be considered a conflict of interest. So unfortunately, you now have to reach out to another real estate attorney outside of CAR. So the benefit here is that because Ken called the CAR attorneys first to get legal advice on a particular property, and I'm the other agent on the other side of that same property, they cannot give me any legal advice. So this is a nice advantage for you as a real estate agent. So instead of you guys having to pay for real estate attorneys to get advice on how to do things or deal with certain situations, because not all brokers have a risk management department, CAR is here for you. And if you can call them first regarding a situation, you can now lock them to you to call them for any more future advice for that property. And I can't, or the other agent can't. So I hope everybody kind of is encouraged with that. All right. Some other things here real quickly. Learn and Thrive. Here you have access to license renewal from CAR. As you may not, or as you may know that every 4 years you have to renew your license. Some of those schools will charge you a fee to do that. Here at CAR, under the license renewal section, their classes are free. Their testing is free. So if you want to save a few extra dollars on your license renewal when that time appears, this is now a CAR member benefit. Okay. Also, you can have some pre-licensing training, which is nice as well. Here they give you access to training courses to help you get your license. Here for a nominal fee, you've got the bronze, silver, and gold package to help you practice for your test. Let's see here. Meetings and events are great. Marketing tools are always awesome. Here for your clients, you can discuss or have things about infographics, talk about Prop 19. The one cool thing, which is a nice little infographic or video that you can share with your clients. Okay. So here, if we view some infographics real quickly, we can look at the December sales report. And now we can share this to help brand ourselves. Just simply click on the share button and we can share it to our Twitter account, our Facebook page, our LinkedIn account, or even better yet, maybe you copy or take a screenshot and put it in a PDF file for other marketing material. You know, it's a nice little talking point about what's been happening in the state of California. Or even better yet, you can dive down with certain tools. Let's see here. Where is it? The charts and graphs. Here under the charts and graphs, you have the housing summary. You can even dive down a little bit further to the individual cities or counties, which is really great. So here in the US, 5,066,000 homes were sold, up 5.6% across the nation. Here in California, out of that 5,411,000 home sales happened here. What their median sales price is across the state of California. Now, granted, here in the United States, median home prices are at 300,000, which isn't bad. It's just, we know here in California, they're far higher. And of course, your county. I will say that, and I'll show you a graphic today, which is something that the board provides to you, or the MLS provides to you, to show you that I do believe the median sales price in December in Orange County was close to 1.2 million. So you live in a really expensive county if you're living here in Orange County. So things to look out for, things that you can share. And again, great talking points to talk about the market, because one of the things that clients want to know about is to be educated about the market. And of course, they look to professionals who actually know the market. And that's something that's important. Now, also back here under the Learn and Thrive, you also have classes and education courses. Here you can have access to not only the NAR designation courses like GRI, ABR, things like that, but you also have California specific courses for designations and certifications as well. So learning how to do certain things here in the state of California, having certain special education about the California real estate industry is important. So here you have access to all of these types of classes, and most of these all, to get their designations. So, just to show people that you are specializing in a particular field, is always nice. Okay. Let's see here. Under industry, you got data and statistics, information to give to first-time home buyers. It's always great. Current sales and pricing statistics. And again, great little report. And again, just to show you here in Southern California in Orange County, in December, 1.182 was the median sales price versus November of 1.15. So even a 1 month change was up $32,000 versus the year before in December at 950. So we vastly have an increased in our home values. Home buyers that bought in 2020 automatically have a $200,000 equity in their property. It's pretty amazing today. And again, this is all information that you want people to know about, and feel free to share. Okay. You also have under your CAR certain things like a scholarship foundation, education foundation, but more importantly, you also have benefits. And let me see here. Where are the benefits? Member benefits. So you have access to NAR member benefits and discounts, CAR member benefits and discounts on travel, marketing tools, insurance, financing tools, which are great. Let's see here. Supplies, Office Depot, get 75% off your supplies for your office by just being a realtor, which is hugely nice. Okay. UPS, if you needed to ship anything or even mail things like contracts or letters to somebody who's maybe out of state, get 50% off on that shipping or that mailing by UPS, which is always nice. Insurance. Here under your insurance package, a great way to get health insurance, dental insurance, vision, cyber insurance, E&O insurances, all at a nice discounted rate for being an NAR CAR member. Now, one last thing that we'll talk about here in a little bit more detail is zip forms. Now, zip forms is again your state provided benefit of your electronic contracts. This is huge for you to be able to put together your transactions electronically. Not only is it great for sitting down at home and writing up an offer or writing up a listing agreement, but it's also great for on the go. Again, being a paperless agent, cell phone device, tablet device that you may have with you at an appointment, a great way of being able to access the contracts and be able to literally physically sign on your tablet device right then and there. So the need for paper has been very limited or almost eliminated. Granted, there are some people that still like to see things in paper, still like to see things in physical writing. Not a problem. You can accommodate that. So you may be asking yourself, geez, Tony, how do I access this? Well, after you become a Realtor member, what you're going to then do after you join is that you're going to then be given a special number called an NRDS number. It stands for NERDS, or National Real Estate Data Systems number. This is your national number that we issue to you from the association that's going to allow you to access your state and national benefits on these websites. So it would be very easy, or it's going to be very easy for you. Once you join, you're basically going to go, in this case, to car.org. To access zip forms, you're going to come over to this big round circle here that says Realtor Secure Transactions and click on this where it says Transactions. Here, you're going to see some of your other state member provided benefits offered to you, one of which is Transactions Zip Forms Edition by Lone Wolf. Now, Lone Wolf is the company that owns and maintains zip forms. What you're then going to do is you're going to click on Access Zip Forms. Now, when you do that, you're going to be asked for a login. Now, what you need to do first and foremost is that after you join, you need to actually register yourself as a user. So you need to create a username and password. From here, you're going to input that NRDS number that the association issues to you. Now, if you're an Orange County member like myself, that number is going to begin with 2055. I do believe if you're Rancho Southeast, that number is, I think, 1955. And then it's going to be followed up by 4 other numbers. Or 5 other numbers. Sorry. Now you're going to put in your legal last name, what's on your DRE license number. and then you're going to hit submit. Now, when you do that, CAR is going to say, please look at your email that you provided to the board at the time that you joined for an authorization code or a link. Once you click on that to verify that you are that member, it's then going to prompt you to create a username and password. That username and password will allow you to access all of your benefits here at CAR, one of which is your zip forms. So once we create that username and password, we can then log into with our username and password that we create. From here, it's going to verify your information. You're going to agree to the terms of usage, and then you're going to continue on to your transaction list. Now here, real quickly, is the zip forms platform. Just like so. Here will be a list of all your created transactions that you would have created for your sellers, your buyers, your tenants, and your landlords. Okay. Here, you're going to be able to put together all those contracts that you need, write up those terms, send them out for digital signatures to get signed, or print them out on your printer and drive them over to your client's house and get them physically signed. It's up to you. So how do we make a transaction here in zip forms? Real easy. Here under the transaction list, we're going to move our mouse to a button that says new. Now we're asked immediately, what type of transaction are we going to make? Are we making a new listing for a seller? Are we making, which is for sale? Are we making a new offer for a buyer for sale? Are we creating a new lease for a tenant to lease out a property? Or are we creating a new lease listing for a landlord to lease out their property? Now, depending on your situation, depending on your client, you're going to pick one of these. In today's example, we're going to create a new offer for a buyer to buy a property. Now we need to write in the property address or name the transaction. There are several ways that we can name the transaction. Most agents or some agents will name it the property address. Other agents will name it the client's name. Other agents will make it a combination of the two. Whatever is going to be easiest for you as an agent to remember what clients you're working with for what properties. I will say, as a general rule of thumb, excuse me, I would say as a general rule of thumb for most agents, they will make it a combination of client's name and the property address when it's a buyer or a tenant. Why? Because some buyers will make multiple offers on multiple different properties. So they want to keep track of what properties this client has made offers on, or what for whether they're a tenant or a buyer. Other people, and then that same agent will name it just the property address when they're dealing with just a seller, because typically a seller is only buying or selling their one property. Okay. So this is how they're going to differentiate between their sellers and their buyers, or their tenants and their landlords. Okay. Whatever you decide to do, stick with it. So here we're just going to make up an address. Now from here, what kind of category? Is it a residential property, farm or ranch, industrial, manufactured, co-op, unlisted, condo, land lot, whatever? Pick the one that you need. Now all you need to do is scroll down below, click save. Now we have officially made the transaction. Now from here, we need to add forms to the transaction. So how do we add forms to the transaction? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to move our mouse over here towards the top right corner to where it says all forms. When we click on all forms, we now have access to more than 395 forms or plus forms to buy, sell, lease properties in the state of California. To add a form to the transaction over here to the left, simply go down on this list, find the form you need, click on it, add it to the transaction. Now, to make this easier for you guys, because you don't need to scroll through this entire list just to find one or two forms to maybe get the transaction started. Here, right near the top of this all forms area, we have a bar here that says search for name or description. So in this search bar, I can maybe type in the form number like RPA. Now, RPA stands for the Residential Purchase Agreement. This is the main purchase agreement to buy residential properties, single family or condo, or I should say 1 to 4 units. Here we find the form, simply click on it, add it. Now, if I don't know the number of the form, but I know maybe part of the name like disclosure. Here I can type in the word disclosure, and now my forms list sorts to give me every form that has the word disclosure as part of the title. And again, I can find the form that I need, click on it, add it. So this is a great way of being able to find the forms that you need quickly and easily. Now, I usually get one question right away. Hey, Tony, what forms do I need? How do you know? This, that, and the other. Well, this is where your broker is going to come in. Your broker, depending on the brokerage that you're with, will give you a list of forms that they require for every transaction. Depending on who you're representing, they're going to say these forms need to originate from you, but the other forms need to come from the other side of the transaction. The other agent, basically. But they're going to give you that list of forms that are required. Now, typically the agent or the broker also is responsible for training you on how to fill in the form. Basically, what terms and what's really considered good terms. And maybe Lisa could attest to this. Lisa, or I'm sorry, Lucille, by any chance, the agent that you're working with, have they shown you the contract at all or any of the contracts?
Is the question for Lori?
Or Lori, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Lucille sounds good for dinner though. Yes, she has.
Yes. So at least you have a mentor showing you that, right? Well, most of you getting your licenses will have either a mentor or a broker that's going to show you these things. Okay. But very simply, we add the forms, and now we're going to click over here to the left, click on the form that we want to edit or modify. And now we can begin to write up the terms of the agreement. Things like this, okay? Come down below and write up all of our terms. Now, I will let you all know something here. As of typically, forms are updated by CAR about twice a year, every June, every December. Now, we just had a major overhaul or update to the California Residential Purchase Agreement. So this form has been totally rewritten, and you're accessing the latest and greatest form. This form was 12 pages up until about December. Today, it's about 16 pages long. And that's not including the other forms that are attached to this document. Here, this is a full rewrite, but what's really nice about this is that this form has now been reorganized so that things are easier to understand. Now, one major thing that I always stress to agents, part of your bread and butter is that you should not only learn zip forms, but you need to learn the contracts. It is your fiduciary duty to make sure that the client reads and understands this contract. Well, how do they understand it? You have to understand it, right? Because they're going to ask you questions. Well, what's a contingency period? How long do I have? Your answers should never be, I don't know, right? If you're getting somebody to sign a contract, you should learn all these terms. Now, I will say that what's really nice about this new purchase agreement is that even though this is 16 pages long, really you're only filling in data on the first 4 pages. After that, it's all fluff about everything that the first four pages is all about. So it's a really nice, well laid out contract now. So you can write up everything that you need, all the terms for the buyer to be able to submit it to a seller for review and hopefully accept. Okay. So this is really nice now. So I would definitely do this. Now, real quickly, this is how easy it is to add a form and begin to edit the form. Now, one nice tool that you're going to have available to you is that the convenience of what they call electronic signatures or e-sign. There is a platform that I'm sure everybody's familiar with, which is Docusign. Now, Docusign is a third-party vendor, and that third-party vendor will charge you about $250 a year for you to send out contracts from zip forms through this platform to sign. But wait, that's $250 out of your pocket. And I know immediately you're thinking, geez, I really wish there was something that was already usable that would be free and more cost effective. Well, there is. Zip Forms has its own signing platform called Digital Ink. Now, Digital Ink works very similar to Docusign if you've ever electronically signed a document before. But what's nice is it's free to you because you're a CAR member and it's part of the Zip Forms program. So if after writing up the contract and you need to send this out to a client because, hey, it's late at night, they need to sign it right away, time is of the essence, or maybe they're across the United States, or maybe they're in another country, so you can't just drive over and get them to physically sign the contract. This is where e-sign is going to help. Now, what we can do to send out documents for e-signature, we have our forms, we have them all typed up. We're going to come over here to the left-hand side to where it says e-sign. From here, we're going to start a new packet to sign. We're going to select our documents. We can even select PDF files that we've uploaded as part of the transaction. Once we select the documents, we go next. We now select the parties involved that need to sign. So in this case, my clients, and of course me, their listing agent. From here, when we go next, we're now going to proofread the document and place any digital areas that need to be placed. Now, like Docusign, or unlike Docusign, if you export documents into Docusign, you have to manually place signatures everywhere. But because you're doing this through zip forms and the contracts, or most of the contracts are all generated by zip forms, 95% of all the contracts already have the digital areas pre-placed. Meaning this is where Bob needs to sign. This is where his wife Barbara needs to sign. This is where I need to sign, so on and so forth. What I can very easily do is come down below to the document that needs a signature added or an initial added. And now what I'm going to do very quickly is I'm going to come back over here to the right-hand side. I see where it says signers. I'm currently editing Bob Hunt trustee. I'm going to click on drag and drop, and now I'm going to find the task that I need, click and hold, drag it, and place it in the form. Click and hold, drag and place. The next signer, I click on the down arrow, select the next signer, and again, drag and drop where their signatures need to go. Now, once I've done that for all the parties and made sure any PDF files have these areas placed, I now can hit next. And the moment I hit next, I hit send. And now in less than 2 minutes, the signers are signing the documents. Once the documents are done signing, and we'll see if we can't get back here real quick. Of course, got to go back in to my zip forms. Why not? Once the documents are signed, not only do my clients get an email copy of all the signed contracts, not only do I get an email copy, but I also, in my transaction, I have a folder that has the signed documents as well. And in this folder, I can now click on the PDF document, see their signatures that were done electronically. And now with the send button, I can email that signed contract to the other agent or to my assistant or to whoever needs to see this document. So it's a quick and efficient way of pulling together a transaction very quickly and very easily. If anything, if you only created transactions to add documents just to modify them and then print them, you've saved yourself a lot of time and effort. When you start learning how to do e-sign, that's going to save you even more time and be that much more productive. Are there any questions on this so far? Excuse me. All right. So one thing that you may be asking yourself as well, geez, Tony, that's great, but how do I learn my forms? That's great that, you just showed me how to put together a transaction, but what forms do I need, or what do I need to say on a form, or what does the term of the contract really mean? Well, this is where you're also going to access another member benefit at CAR. And we'll go over that last benefit today here, called Forms Advisor, Forms Tutor. Now, Forms Tutor specifically is a free CAR tool that will allow you to learn your forms. So here as an example, if I go back to CAR.org's website, I move my mouse to where it says Transaction Center, and I click on it, and I scroll down to where it says Forms Advisor, Forms Tutor, click on that. And from here, I'm going to scroll down and click on where it says Access Forms Tutor. Now, when I do this, I now have access to not all 395 plus forms, but at least 36 of the most commonly used forms by agents. What I can do is just simply search for that form, like as an example, RPA. Now, by the way, this is only for members. Here, when I click on RPA, I now see that the residential purchase agreement, pages 1 through 4, 5 through 9, 10 through 14, and then 15 through 16. If I click on one of these sections, the form or that section is going to open up. The form looks fairly normal, except I can't write any terms on here, but I'm going to see these little blue dots. Now, depending on the form, I'm going to see these blue dots on every page, every line, every paragraph. Now, if I click on a blue dot, I'm now going to get a little window that explains legally what that line means, or what that paragraph means, or what that page means. Now, a quick show of hands. Do I have anybody here that loves to read? Great. Nobody here loves to read, right? You read because you have to read. And I get it. Tough enough to read the legal language of a contract. Do you want to necessarily read the legal explanations of the legal contract, right? No. Now, this is where this is really cool. If I click on the blue dot and that little blue window opens up, instead of just reading all this verbatim, instead what I could do, because I personally do not like to read all the time, there's a little play button over here to the top left corner. And if I hit this little play button, you should hopefully be hearing the audio explanation of that line, of that paragraph, of that page. So if you've missed a class at the board, or if you missed a class at your broker's office on how to learn a particular contract, rest assured, there is a way to still learn the form. Because again, your fiduciary duty to your client is to help them make sure that they have read and understood all the terms of this contract. at time of signing. So it's still our legal obligation to make sure that as they've read through this, or as they read through this, we can now more confidently explain to them what it is that they're reading and what these things mean and why they're here and things like that. So this is vastly important for us. And this is a great learning tool that doesn't cost you a thing, or I should say is included in your member benefit. Okay. All right. So now that we've talked about CAR long enough and shown you zip forms, let's talk about Rancho Southeast. So Rancho Southeast Association is, our duty is to promote the code of ethics, make sure that we enforce those code of ethics on our realtor members. We're also obligated and make sure that our obligation to you is to provide you education and services and resources, and to also advocate and protect real property rights, not just protect your business, but protect home ownership. So we have our own governmental affairs department that we make sure goes out and fights on the local, state, and national level for you and clients. Because heaven forbid they take away home ownership rights from people, or they change laws to the point where it's really hard to own a home, right? Because that's a sense of independence, to be able to own your own home, right? You don't have to pay somebody rent. You don't have to pay for somebody else's property, right? Because to make them independently wealthy. Here, you can own your own home and feel a sense of independence and accomplishment for you, your largest ever owned asset. So that's going to be something that everybody should strive for, not just you guys, but your clients. And we're here to help protect that. Now, we have 4 key principles. We want to give you service, right? Customer service is key. We also want to give you education. We also make sure that the code of ethics is adhered to and enforced. And of course, we're an advocacy for local, state, and national government. Now, how do we do this? Well, we are basically 7 businesses in one. Number one, we are a store. So part of our service to you is to be able to allow you to purchase things for your real estate needs, from signs to contracts to, hats and clothing and all this other stuff that you might need, on top of buying lock boxes to secure a property so that not anybody off the street can walk in and, into the vacant home. We're also a court. Our promise to you is to uphold agents to that code of ethics standard. There are times where agents have disputes amongst each other, right? Maybe there's an agent that's not practicing ethically. Well, you have a right to file a grievance against them. Or maybe you need to file an arbitration because the other agent on the other side, the seller or the listing agent, didn't pay you the commission. Or maybe your broker didn't pay your commission. You have the right to bring them in front of a tribunal to hear your case. So we are a court for you. Okay. Here we are all about trying to dispute resolution. We even have a service to help mediate client to client disputes. Maybe the seller promised to fix something and then at close of sale, that item wasn't fixed. And now they're just being snarky about following through with their promise. Well, instead of taking them to court, we have a mediation service that you can help that client get into mediation and get settled out of court. We're also a news resource or a news source. We want to make sure that not only are you getting your state and national information, but also local information. What's happening in and around the community is important. Now, we also have a volunteer. Agents like to give back to the community. So we provide you the ability to get together with other real estate agents to give back, whether it's feeding the homeless or going to schools and doing the lunch backpack programs, or maybe it's a cleanup, or maybe it's an electronics disposal. We have volunteers, or realtors like to volunteer to be able to help the community with those types of services. We also pride ourselves as being a business network. Not only is it great to have marketing meetings where agents can meet other agents within their communities or cities to be able to become better connected and build great rapport, but hey, you need help with marketing, you need help with advertising, you need a lender, you need a title, you need a escrow guy, well, or a person. We have almost 1,000 affiliate businesses with Rancho Southeast that offer services to realtors exclusively, whether it's getting a photographer or a videographer or a social media or web designer or title, lender, and escrow services. We have members that will be able to help you as a realtor meet those needs. So it's all about connection. Public affairs or government affairs is very important. Again, we have a government affairs department that will go to the local commerce and talk with the city officials for local government. We also have people going up to the state level in Sacramento, board of directors. And again, our governmental affairs going up there to fight for and against laws that are affecting state ownership and real estate rights. And of course, we're a school. Again, we promise to educate you, whether it's your technical needs on learning zip forms or MLS, to risk management, minimizing risk, or how to deal with sellers or how to deal with buyers. We even partner with the state and national associations to offer you designation classes. So you can come to the association after you join to get those designation classes as well. So we are basically a one-stop shop at that point. That's all here at our website, www.rsaor.com. Okay, just go here. You can look at what's going on. We can look at the news. We can even log into the MLS. Now we're going to finish this here by going to the MLS. Now we are a part of the MLS system. As I mentioned earlier, Rancho Southeast is one of 36 associations part of CRMLS. CRMLS is the largest MLS database in the nation. More than 200,000 plus listings going back 20 years, more than 91,000 agents here in the state of California that you have access to. Very simply, if you go to rsaor.com and then click on login to MLS, you are going to be redirected to crmls.org's website. Now, before we dive into logging into the MLS system, a couple of nice things here at CRMLS's website that I like to point out. Number one, they do have education classes on how to use their system. Okay. You can sign up for webinar training or classroom trainings at the association. They even have recorded videos. So they have their own YouTube channel as well. If you are on YouTube, and I'm just going to pop on here real quick. And you go to crmls.org. Here you can see CRMLS TV, click on their channel. And now under their videos, they have all sorts of training videos, quick how-to videos, how to upload an agent photo, to hour-long webinars on how to do things like the essentials of MLS, how to input a listing, things like that. Now, granted, we do offer that training as well, but maybe it's after hours. Maybe your day is so busy working with clients and dealing with escrows that you can't attend a webinar training or an association training by us. Here, at least you got 24 hours a day, 7 days a week training at your fingertips. Now, by any chance, do I have anybody here that's an insomniac? If you're like me, you sometimes wake up in the middle of the night, you can't get back to sleep. Well, guess what? Go into YouTube, pull up a CRMLS training video and play it. Guaranteed it'll put you right to sleep. Not that that's a bad thing, because while you're sleeping, you're subconsciously learning how to use their tools. Anybody like that? Good. But here you can access their training videos. And what's really nice about this is that this is not behind a login. You can literally go onto YouTube right now and just look for CRMLS.tv or CRMLS TV and start learning the MLS. I would highly recommend doing this. You're going to be so much further ahead than any other agent that's not doing this to learn your MLS system. And why is it important to learn the MLS? Because you as an agent want to quickly and easily find properties for your clients and know how to get properties to your clients quickly and easily. No client should ever hear the words, well, I'm not really familiar with the MLS system. It may take me some time to get you those listings. No client wants to hear that. Now, another tool here at CRMLS, their support tab. Here under their support tab, I want to show CRMLS's hours of operation. CRMLS has hours between Monday and Friday, 8:30 to 9 o'clock at night, and Saturday and Sunday hours between 10 and 3. The idea behind this is that CRMLS is able to give you 7 days a week support. Just simply give them a call, 800-925-1525, press option number 1, and in less than 2 minutes, you're on the phone talking to a rep. Now, why is this important? Well, maybe you're not able to reach the association on how to do something. Maybe you're at home. It's, again, around 8 o'clock at night. The boards usually are open between 8 and 5, Monday through Friday. So those after hours, when you finally sit down to actually run a search, or maybe you're trying to do a CMA and you're just not sure how to do it, know that CRMLS is here. Now, also, if you're like me and you don't like sitting on hold listening to that elevator music because that tune gets stuck in your head, even after that phone call, you can actually chat online with somebody. Just simply click on chat online, put in your name, your email address, your MLS user ID that you'll get once you join the board. And then, of course, write in what your question is. When you hit start a chat, in about 2 minutes during their hours of operation, you are online talking with a rep. And they're walking you through the steps. So those are the two big things here at CRMLS's website I want to show right out of the gate. Now, logging into the MLS, real simple. When you as an agent first join, and Lori, I know you haven't joined the board yet, but once you do, depending on the association, you're going to be issued a username for the MLS. And you're also probably going to be issued a temporary password, a one-time login password that you need. To log into the MLS for the very first time, you're going to move your mouse here at crmls.org to this big blue button that says MLS Dashboard Login. Now, when we click on this choice, and we're going to log in again, okay. We're now going to input our username that was issued to us by the association and our temporary password. Now, typically your username is always going to begin with the first 2 letters of the association that you belong to. So if you're Rancho Southeast, it's going to begin with RS. If you're Orange County, it's going to begin with OC. Pacific West, PW. Laguna Beach, LB. Newport, NP. Downey, DW. Then it's going to be followed up by the first 4 letters of your last name. Then it's going to end with the first 3 letters of your first. Now, because you're logging in for the very first time, or you could be, you're then going to input that temporary password. Now, the first time that you input the temporary password and then you click login, this is what's going to happen. Number 1, you're going to be asked to agree to the terms of usage. The term of usage, you're going to scroll right on down to the bottom, hit the checkbox that you agree, and then you're going to type in your name exactly how it's typed. Once you agree to the terms, you're then going to be asked a series of security questions that you must answer. Now, that is for anytime you forget your password and you need to reset it. You need to know or answer those questions. Now, please answer them exactly what they ask. Meaning, if it asks you what year you're born in, please do not put in the month of the date. If it asks you what city you were born in, please do not put in state or country. And of course, if it asks you your mother or father's first name, hopefully you know what that is besides mom or dad. Now, once you answer those questions, then you're going to be prompted to create your permanent password. Now, your permanent password will be alphanumeric, meaning it's going to be letters and numbers with a requirement of 7 letters and at least 1 number. Okay. Once you make that password, then you're free to log into the MLS. Now from here, we're going to be taken to the dashboard. Now, there's a couple of nice things here before we go hopping right into the MLS system. Here, we're going to have access to a bunch of tools, all free for being a CRMLS MLS member. Okay. There are going to be 2 tools I'm going to show you today besides running a search and creating a saved search. Okay. One is called InfoSparks. InfoSparks is market statistics that you can share with the community. This is how you're going to help become the market expert, because not only are you going to know what MLS data is available for the cities you're marketing in, but you're also going to know statistical data to be able to answer all the popular questions like, is it a buyer's or seller's market? Are property values going up or down? You know, what's the median sales prices? Things like that. That's really important for you in your marketing. The other tool that we're going to touch on is not necessarily a CRMLS member benefit, but an NAR benefit called RPR, Realtor Property Resource. Today, we're going to play around with this to be able to show you what type of information you can look at on someone's home, whether it's local or abroad. And one of the really cool things with this tool is I can create CMAs from tax data. A CMA meaning comparative market analysis. Now, before we access these 2 tools here today, let's access the MLS. So here in the MLS system, we have our dashboard. Our dashboard has tools. Excuse me, a frog in my throat. Excuse me. The home screen here has all these great tools that we can access data at a quick glance. Our saved searches, create hot seats, look at what's happening in the market areas based on our criteria. We can see auto emails when our clients have accessed them and what they've done with the data that we're sending to them on a regular basis, so on and so forth. Now, to run a search in the MLS, really easy. We have a tab here at the very top. We can click on that tab that says search, and now we can run various different property types that are in our MLS system. We have commercial data. We have manufactured or mobile home data. We have leases, income properties, and of course, residential for sale. So here we have access to a lot of information for your client's needs. Now, under each property type, based on their listing agreements, we can run various different types of searches. A detailed search, as an example here under residential, gives me about 44 different fields of criteria to input in. Now, one of the many beautiful things about our matrix system is that if I input no data at all, I can immediately jump to the results and look at more than 2,500 plus listings worth of information. Now, what's really nice about this is that as I start to input data into my various different fields, I want to keep an eye out for these matches. Because if I put in criteria and my matches immediately goes to 0, that means I put in something so specific that nothing matches in the MLS. Now, I will tell you that our MLS uses a saying, less is more, meaning the less information you input in, the more data you're going to get back in return. So how do I input this data to find properties for my clients? Very easy. Starting here on the left side, we can pick our statuses. We have various different statuses worth of data, basically where the property lies in. Is it actively being marketed? Is it in escrow, or is it off market and it has closed escrow or expired or what have you? Simply find the status you need or that your client needs and select it. Now, if you have fields here that have multiple choices, like single family, condo, or common interest, community apartment, condominium, things like that, just simply to select a choice here, just simply click on the choice. But wait a minute, how do I choose multiple choices? Well, to choose multiple choices, depending on the computer system you're using, if I'm on a PC, I'm going to hold down my control key. If I'm on a Mac computer, hold down the command key and now select your multiple choices by clicking on them. If you accidentally selected something by mistake and you need to not select it, simply either hold down your control key for PC or command key for Mac and reselect to deselect. Now, here's a nice little tidbit though. If I have nothing selected in that field, the system automatically assumes that I am looking for everything in this field. So I do not need to select every choice in a field to make sure I'm looking for everything. If I have nothing selected in that field, the system automatically assumes that I want everything in this field. So that makes it easier for you. Now over here in the middle, county, city, MLS area, subdivision, or tract. Now, what I like about these fields here is that if I say select a county like Orange, or actually let's make it more local, Los Angeles. Now, all of a sudden the city field narrows down to give me only those cities that are in the county selected. If I select a city, then only the MLS sub areas that are associated with that city are able to be selected. And if I select an MLS area, then only the tracts or subdivisions within that area are able to be found. Now, I'm going to be able to eliminate one of these fields in my search, and that is the county. Now, why? Well, how many cities do you know are in multiple counties? Like, as an example, how many Cerritoses are there in the state of California? One, right? What county does it happen to be in? LA. Now, I can, if I wanted to, come down below and select Cerritos if I want to. But then if I want to select another city, I now have to scroll down, make sure that I either hold down my control key or command key and select another city, and then another city, and then another city, right? But then I get that little finger hiccup where I forget or, let go of the key before my next click. And now I've just deselected everything else, right? Well, let's help you eliminate this frustration. And that is here with underneath the city, there's a white box here. If I click in this white box to get my cursor to blink, all I need to do is just simply type in the city. Now, granted, it highlights the city here, but I do not need to click on it. To officially select this city, after I type it in, simply type a comma right after that city. That has now officially selected the city. Now, if I need multiple cities, I can do that here just by typing them in. Just separate them out with commas. But what's nice also is I don't need to put spaces in between the commas. Just simply type in the cities that I need. So here in Cerritos, Los Angeles, and Linwood that are currently active, we got 1,323 properties that are currently active in these cities. Over here towards the left or to the right, price, bedroom, bathroom, square footage, the number fields basically. So here, I can click in the price box. I can type in a price, maybe, oh, I don't know, 650,000. No commas, no spaces, no dashes, no dollar signs, anything like that, right? The 650,000. Now we went from 1,323 properties down to 8. Why? It's because I'm telling the system I'm wanting to look for exactly or prices or properties listed at exactly $650,000. Well, what happens if I have a client that wants to look for everything above a price or below a price or in between? This is where we're going to go back to our old style keystrokes. So here, if I want to look for everything above 650,000, simply type in 650,000 and follow it with a plus sign. Now we've got 1,067 properties that are 650,000 on up. If my client wants everything this price on down, then simply type in the price and follow it with a minus sign. Now we got 264 properties that are 650 on down. But typically most clients will give you a range. Don't go below this price. Don't go above that price, right? Simply type in the low number, no space, minus, and then put in your high number. And let's tighten that up a little bit. There we go. So 650,000 to $750,000, we got 120 matches out of 1,323. So this is how you want to type in your number fields. Now, one field I definitely always recommend agents be careful of is this field here called baths total. The baths total field basically indicates how many total number of bathrooms are in a property. Now, as you may or may not know, there are 4 different types of bathrooms that can be in a home. There's a full bath, a 3/4 bath, a half bath, and a quarter bath. Anybody know that what makes it up a full bathroom? And I'm going to let you unmute yourself for that one. Lori, what makes up a full bath?
A tub with a shower, toilet, and sink.
Excellent. All 4 components. A full bathroom has a shower, tub, sink, toilet. Now, a 3/4 bath can have or must have at least 3 of the 4 components. Typically, either a shower or a tub, sink, and toilet. A half bath has 2 of the 4 components, typically a sink and a toilet. And a quarter bath has 1 of the 4 components, typically just a sink or washroom. Okay. Now, funny enough, when we think about this, when we say baths total, if we were to type in 2+ as an example, we may not necessarily be getting 2 full baths. We may get 2 3/4 baths or 1 3/4 and 1 half baths. The total number of bathrooms in the property are 2. So if you are, as an agent, are running a search in the MLS system and your client says, I need at least 2 full baths in a home, then make sure that you come over to where it says full baths and type in the number that you're looking for. Because if you put it in the baths total, you may not necessarily be pulling the properties that have at least 2 full bathrooms. Okay, so be really mindful of that. By the way, if a client of yours is doing a bathroom remodel and they take out the shower and tub stall or that shower and tub combo and maybe just install a shower, they've actually downgraded their bathroom from a full to a 3/4, just so you know. Now, once we get to our results, our desired results, after we put in our criteria to look at that information, we're going to come over here to the top, click on results. And now we can look at the properties. Here we've got access to the MLS listing number. What's nice about this, we can click on the MLS number, open up the agent full report, and look at the list price, bedroom, bathroom, square footage. Look at the listing photos of the property. Look at the video about the property description, showing instructions, private remarks, everything that we need to see to be able to consult our client about this property. We can go back to the Agent One Line report, jump over to the next listing and look at it. Or top left corner, click next to go to the next property in our list, or the bottom right corner, clicking our next here, or even better yet, maybe I don't want to go from number 15 to 16 to 17. Instead, I want to go from 15 to 21 and jump in our list. Now, if I want to get properties to a client, I have several ways of doing this. One, maybe I select certain properties. Oh, and by the way, before we do that, we got the MLS listing number, we got the status, we got the subtype, single family, condo, townhome, A or D, attached or detached. We got the street number, we got the street name, the city, the area in which that property resides in within the city. The listing type, is it a standard sale? Is it a probate? Notice of default, whatever, under special listing conditions. We got the list price, price per square foot, bedroom, bathroom, price, square footage, so on and so forth. Now, if I want to get properties to a client, I can do that in one of two ways. One, I can select properties. And now I can come down below and under actions, email these selected properties to my client. But then tomorrow, I need to rerun the search and select other properties to email. That can get a little tedious. But the other way to get properties to a client is very simple. It's called the auto email. Now, the auto email basically says that I'm going to send client the initial properties that I found, and then they're going to get new properties on a regularly scheduled basis. So how do we do that? Very easy. Here, we run our search. We get to our results. Now, without selecting any properties whatsoever, we're going to come down below, and next to where it says actions, we're going to click save. And under save, we're going to now click on new auto email. Here under the new auto email, we're now going to follow our simple prompts to get these properties to a client. How do we do that? Simply select the client in our contact list. If they're not here because they're a brand new client, simply click on create a new contact and type in their information. The dark colored or yellow colored fields are the required data. Got to know the client's first name and last name, and of course their email address. Once you type that in and you hit save, they are now going to be available in your list that you can now select. And let me find one here. And now we've got them in our list, their email address, everything. The subject line, I always recommend to agents, personalize it just a little bit. That way the client doesn't dismiss this as junk mail. Too many agents say, here are the properties that meet your criteria. How many of you would look at something like that and immediately dismiss it as spam? Probably most of us, right? So what I always suggest to agents is that when it comes to sending properties to a client, make sure that subject line stands out to remind the client that you are looking out for them and trying to find them a property to buy. Okay. Maybe you personalize it a little bit. Hey, Bobby, here are the homes you must see from your agent, Tony. Now, the welcome email message, you can personalize this a little bit. Just simply click in the box, rewrite over a little bit. The recurring email, basically, when they get follow-up emails, definitely click in that message box and type in some sort of personalized message. Now, down below, how often are they to get these properties? Now, you have a choice of 4. You have the concierge mode. The concierge mode basically means that you have to approve what properties they are to get. Now, why would you ever need to do this? Well, maybe you've got a client that's got certain special needs, like they want a backyard with a west-facing flower bed. Well, something like that's not normally going to be typed in on a listing, right? So that's probably going to require you to go through those list of 120 properties or 25 properties and select only the ones that you know for sure has a backyard with a west-facing flower bed or a possibility of one, right? Now, would I recommend doing concierge mode for every client? No, because not every client, even though they like to think that they're special needs, all right, meaning that they want special attention, right? Not every client's like that. So this is for your selected special clients. Now, if they're not that, not overly special where they need that special attention, then maybe you set them up on a schedule as soon as possible, ASAP. ASAP means that as soon as something meets this criteria, an email is generated within 20 minutes. Not too bad, all things considered, but if it's a really busy day, listings coming on the market a lot for some reason, that could generate a lot of emails. And most clients, if they get too many emails, will all of a sudden block or unsubscribe. So again, depending on the market, maybe like in today's market where there's a very small amount of inventory in the MLS database, this would be something that would be really good to go after, right? Because you want clients to get those properties right away because, geez, if I'm number 51 client seeing the property, chances are there's already offers and my client could have already missed out. So knowing what is already out there, or as soon as something comes on the market, may be advantageous for my client. Now, in a normal market, a little bit more normalized market, a daily email, one email a day, or either in the morning, or maybe one email in the day in the evening, or you could send them 2 emails a day, one in the morning and one at night. Or you can pick and choose what day of the week they get their email. Their last choice is the monthly. The monthly basically just says that they get 1 email a month at midnight. Now, some agents have asked me, well, why would you ever do that? Well, maybe they're telling you they're not ready to buy right now for 6 months or 7 months. But in talking with your mentor, the mentor has said it's usually that they never stop looking for a property. And when an opportunity comes up, if they forgot you, because that happens if you stop communicating, they won't use you. Well, this is a great way of staying in touch. You give them a monthly update, you keep them now lukewarm to say, I'm still looking for properties for you. Here's some new updates. If you happen to see one, give me a call. Because you never know, maybe something comes up within 2 months before their 6 months is up. Now, all of a sudden they can rework things to now buy versus buying later and missing out. So this is a great way of keeping that buyer lead lukewarm and still maintain you at top of mind by giving them periodic property updates. Another reason this one's a good one is for potential sellers, giving them market updates in their neighborhood. They don't need to know things daily or as soon as possible. They just need to know a monthly update because they're interested in possibly selling. So this would be a great tool to say, this is what's going on in the market right now. And maybe at that great opportune moment when there's no active listings, they now want to list because there's no competition. Whatever schedule you pick or need and selected, come down below, hit save. Once you hit save in about 20 minutes, within an hour, the initial welcome email goes out to the client. They click on the link and they activate that portal. And then they start getting those properties on a regular basis. Are there any questions on MLS right now?
Tony, this is Lori. For the email option, do we need to gain their permission first before signing them up on auto emails? And if so, what is that process in the MLS?
I would just say, as long as you have an email and have developed some sort of relationship, you just don't want to arbitrarily go, all right, here's a list of emails. I'm just going to email people properties, right? Nobody
Right.
wants that.
Okay.
This is really meant for client to agent relationship. So I'm your client, I'm your buyer. I need to know what properties are in the area because I'm itching to buy because I need to move now and I want to get out of the renting game. This is where the auto email comes in.
Okay.
You want to
Thank
send
you.
me properties so that way I can keep apprised of everything going on. And then I can indicate on those properties the heart icon of what I like or me and my wife like. And now you'll be notified here within the MLS. And now you can click on those properties. And now you'll reach out to me and say, hey, Tony, I noticed you selected 2 properties as your favorite last night or this morning. Would you like me to set up some times or would you like me for me to set up a time to see these homes before they get off the market?
Okay.
I'm really going to love you for that because you're right. I want to see those right away. And maybe my past experience, the agent sent me auto emails and never communicated with me ever since, which unfortunately, a lot of agents do that. So you don't want to be one of those agents.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Next tool that we're going to go over, we're going to find that under the links tab here. I'm going to first touch on InfoSparks. So technology, you guys love technology. Part of that technology is being able to use technology to become the market expert, right? You need to be able to market yourself and you need to understand what you need to talk about. So when it comes to real estate, people want to know what's going on in the market. People need to know. And unfortunately, a lot of agents don't even know themselves. They hear rumors. I think it's a seller's market. I think it's a buyer's market. I think there's low inventory, but they don't know for sure. And a lot of times they may use services that talk about the market, but when somebody questions them, because they've never read the articles themselves, it shoots their credibility right in the foot. You guys don't want to be like that. As a matter of fact, you want to be in control over what data gets distributed. You want to be able to talk about things. And this is a great way, especially when we're talking about social media marketing, right? You want to be able to have topics to talk about. Well, talk about the market. This is where one tool here called InfoSparks is going to help you out. Now, InfoSparks is a third-party member benefit tool from CRMLS that gives you statistical data right at a glance. So here right away, when I click on InfoSparks under the links tab, I get to see that in the entire MLS database for all property types attached and detached, that the median sales price is $730,000, up 14% from a year ago. So in December of 2021, this information is pretty amazing. Now, you may go, well, wait a minute, Tony. I know I've seen things in and around my neighborhood that are far more expensive than this. That can't be right. Remember, we're looking at the entire MLS database. We're looking at not just Orange County. We're not looking just at LA County. We're not just looking at San Bernardino and Riverside and San Diego and parts of Northern California and Fresno, right? We've got a big touch of data, a big cache of data. So we need to narrow this down a little bit. Well, how do we narrow this down? Well, we can click on the down arrow next to where it says entire MLS, and we can look at information by the county, by city, by zip code, by MLS area, or other areas that you develop for yourself. And we can look at city data. Here, I'm going to click on city, and now I'm going to find the city I want. How do I find it? I'm just going to simply type in the city. Here we see that the city gets highlighted. I'm going to click on it. And now we see here all property types attached and detached. In Cerritos, the median sales price in Cerritos was $979, up 16.2%. So compared to all of the MLS, Cerritos is a little bit more of an expensive city compared to everywhere else in the MLS. But wait a minute, we're looking at attached and detached property data. What happens if I like to specialize in detached structures of real estate? And by the way, that can be condo or single family detached. So maybe I just want to look at the detached market. Here, when I select detached, applying this filter, we now again see the median sales price at $1,010,000. Again, up 15%. So if a homeowner bought a property in December of 2020, they've gained 15% in equity from a year ago. And we see here on this line graph where it's at now. So if I move my mouse on that line graph, I actually get to see that month's number. But what's nice about this is that as I go down this line, I get to see the previous month. And amazingly enough, from November to December in Cerritos, we went from 965 to 1,010,000, up $50,000. If we go and move our mouse back to December of 2020, it was at 875,000. If we look back all the way back to 2016, the median sales price of a detached property in Cerritos was 655,000. So in a mere, what is that, 5 years? So if Lori and Brianna or Alex bought your home back in 2016, you've gained $400,000 in equity in just 5 years' time. Is that pretty amazing? Wouldn't you, as a potential home seller, love hearing something like that?
Yes.
Yeah, right. Now, by the way, we're just looking at one stat, right? This is really great here because we can look at the active inventory market. And we see here, crazy enough, the current active inventory was only 14 properties in Cerritos, which was down 6.7% from a year ago, which that doesn't sound like a lot of properties up for sale. If we look all the way back even just to 2018, they had 68 properties on the market that were detached in Cerritos up for sale. To today, 3 years later, at 14. So what is that? More than 150% less than what it was? Which is probably why home prices have started going up, because inventory or active market isn't the same. Less properties up for sale, more demand has now risen that price. Great topics to talk about. Here we can look at closed sales data. Month supply of inventory is always important. How fast you would burn through the existing inventory given the number of sales versus active properties for sale. Here we've got less than a month worth supply of inventory. So if there were no new listings added today, you'd run through that property in less than a month, or those 14 properties in less than a month. Now we're really worried, right? Buyers are really worried. There's not enough. There's the fear of not having it. So I'll pay anything for it. Now, what do I do with this data? Or how do I get it out there? And maybe I don't like a line graph. Maybe these ups and down arrows or these up and down peaks, these sharp peaks and valleys would scare a client. Well, over here towards the top right middle, we're looking at a month-to-month change. Maybe we do a rolling 12 months. We can still show an increase of pricing without the sharp peaks and valleys from one month to another. Maybe we even do that for the active listing inventory. And we see even, what is that, 5 years ago? We had 49 properties for sale versus 14. Right? So inventory has vastly gone down. Now, if you're like me and you don't like line graphs, especially when you're wanting to share this data with people, change it from a line graph to a bar graph. And what I like about this is that it gives you the month of December's numbers for this year or for 2021 versus 2020 versus 2019. And again, you can have this for your stats. Way easier to read, way easier to understand. So now how do I get this out? Well, we got several ways of sharing this. We can create a PDF static report. And when we hit view the PDF, what I like about this is that InfoSparks automatically brands this report with my information pulled from the MLS roster. I have my picture, I have my logo, I have my company data, I have my phone number, email address, everything like that. I can print it at this point, share it out, or where is it? What tab am I on? Too many windows here. Or I can email it, have a link, embed it, or again, view it as a PDF, save it, download it, upload it as an email for an email blast. Or I can embed this onto my personal website. But wait a minute, that's a static link. The static means that, and by the way, I can copy and paste this into my website, or copy, paste it in an email to my web designer for them to upload it onto my website. Now, if I did that with the static report, that means that every month when this data gets updated, I have to now generate brand new links. Well, who wants to do that? No, I'm going to help you guys out. If you want data and you want that data to be lifetime updates, then simply, instead of choosing static, choose live. Now, when you do a live embedded link, the data that you see today will automatically update tomorrow, meaning even though we're seeing December's numbers now, right? Because we're in the month of January, and I embed these stats and I can do multiple stats, right? I just have to generate multiple different links for each stat. Now what I can do is on my website, have that data. And now when the month of February comes in, where January's numbers now appear, these live links will automatically update with the current numbers. I don't have to do anything. So now when I get people to go to my website, they are now actively accessing lifetime statistical data, which now makes me what? Not just a real estate expert, but a source of data, a source of information, and someone that they can talk to about what they're seeing about these numbers. Now, one important note here, if you're going to put statistics in your marketing, then at least familiarize yourself with those stats that you're doing. Because the moment somebody asks you about a particular stat and you go, I'm not sure, that's going to shoot your credibility in the foot. Now, another disclaimer. Does this mean that you have to become a statistics expert on every stat? No. One or two stats should be great enough for you to be able to show and demonstrate your knowledge of your real estate industry. Now, each and every one of you here today would look at these stats differently. So how you interpret them is all on you, because how you interpret it and you talk about that data, that's the type of clients that you're going to attract to your business. Some of you will see positive numbers. Some of you will see negative numbers or negative information, right? You're going to look at these numbers and you're going to think, geez, this is really bad. It's a doom and gloom. Others will say, hey, this is really good because of this. So how you as an individual agent interpret this information is going to be the type of clients that you attract to your business. Is that pretty fair to say, Ken?
Yes.
Good. And by the way, You can do not just one city at a time, but you can do multiple different cities or different areas up to about 4. So maybe we compare Cerritos to Linwood versus LA. And whoops, I don't know why it's chose Laguna. There we go. Versus Los Angeles. If we wanted to. And we can show, hey, the different areas and what they all mean and all this other fun stuff. What are the hot areas that you're marketing in? Why would people want to sell here and buy here, right? You're getting more house for what you're paying for. You know, geez, I could sell your home for about $1 million, and then you can go right next door to the next city and buy it for less than 600,000. Now all of a sudden you've pocketed $400,000 in your pocket, or even $200,000 somewhere else. So now your affordability is a little bit better in these other areas that you may want to live in. So that's just all dependent upon you. Are there any questions on InfoSparks? All right. Well, that's right. We're saving those to the end. Okay. Last thing that we'll go over today, Realtor Property Resource, RPR. This is your NAR provided product. Again, this is a really good tool for you to be able to look at tax data on listed and unlisted properties anywhere in the United States. Now, this is really good. You know, again, why would you ever need to do that? But we'll talk about a couple of scenarios. But what we're going to do here is we're just going to simply click on Realtor Property Resource, RPR. And then like with CAR, we're going to create an account here. Once you create your account, your sign-ins, basically your email address, creating a password, setting up your settings in the account. So let's here go into our settings. In our profile, we can upload our image, our company logo, talk about what areas, our phone numbers, things like that. These are great for the various different reports that you're going to have access to. Now from here, we can look for residential and commercial properties. We can look for, properties just based on their tax records, or we can look for sale properties or for lease. The MLS system does have, or this RPR system does have MLS data. If here, as an example, looking at Irvine, and we see new properties for sale or coming soon, what I can now do, and we can even see open house data, which is cool. But if I'm looking for new properties or active listings, I can simply click on a listing. Here's the property address. I can now click on it. And not only can I see MLS data, but not as much as regular MLS, but just enough. Here we get to see the listing photos of the listing. We get to see the list price versus its assessed value market. We get to see the listing agent information, their license number, phone number, office number, what company they're with, and of course their agent private remarks. But I also get to see the property description, but I also get to see the listing facts versus the public facts. What's on title versus what's in the MLS. I also get to see the unified school district and the schools that this home, based on the school district that this home would be going to. I also get to see the livability index by ARRP, the interior features, exterior features, all pulled from the MLS. But more importantly, or just amazing, the deed of records. I can look at the history and look at all the past sales information, along with tax data information, so on and so forth. And that's on a listed home. If I'm looking at unlisted property data, which we can look at public facts here. Let's look for Cerritos. Okay, too many, so not a problem. We'll just draw it in here. We'll search this area for some homes. There we go. I can click on this property that's off market and be amazed at what I can see about this unlisted home. Here I get to see the Google Street View of the property. Look at the neighborhood. I get to see its RVM or AVM, its assessed value market or its realtor value market based on the comps in the area, comes up with a number. Here we get to see the public facts about the property. The schools, again, exterior features, notes like owner information, who owns the property, if it's invested in a trust or an LLC, I get to see that. The legal description, the tax data information, all this really awesome stuff. It's amazing what you can find out about somebody's home that's on public record. So now, why would I ever use something like this? Well, as we all have seen so far, that the inventory in the MLS looks a little diminished, right? Not a lot of, there's been a lot of activity, but maybe the neighborhood that I'm marketing in doesn't have a lot of listings that I can pull from the MLS to make a viable CMA, comparative market analysis. Now, by the way, CMA is your major tool that you can use or that you need in order to go over market realities with a client. You want to show what people are actually listing for, what they're actually in escrow for or at, and how fast they got into escrow, and of course, what they're actually closing for. You don't want them to go to these third-party websites whereby their data is off between 10 to 30%. And if you think about that, that's 10 to 30% in one direction. Well, pricing could be in both directions. So that makes it actually 20 to 60% off in its data, or I should say its estimations. So if that third-party website says plus or minus even 30%, right? Or I should say even 10% on $1 million property, that is what is it? A $400,000 gap or a $200,000 gap, right? 10% off plus 10% minus, that's a 20% difference. And again, if we're talking about value of your largest owned asset, anybody want to play with $200,000 values? No. It could be this, it could be that. I don't know. This is where they need to listen to you. Now, if for some reason there's not a lot of MLS data in that neighborhood for whatever reason, then tools like RPR are great to make a CMA. Because now what we can do is be able to give them a better estimated value guessed based on tax data. Now, what's nice about this is that this will have information that we have access to outside of the MLS, of not just MLS data, but also maybe properties that were for sale by owners, where title changed hands because they sold it themselves and not on the MLS, or maybe the properties were foreclosed or whatever. So those are going to be all taken into account. So the estimations aren't off as much. Now, how do I make a CMA here? Well, after looking at the property, first thing I'm going to do is maybe sit down with the client and go over some values. Take into account their home improvements that were made and when they were made. Because you're going to have clients that say, well, I did a kitchen remodel back in, I don't know, let's say 2009, and we spent $50,000 on that remodel. I think my home is worth at least $50,000 more. Well, if we think about that, 2009, that's what, 12 years ago, practically. values have changed, things devalue, things depreciate, right? But here, when I add that to take that into consideration, it really only adds $17,000 to the current home's value, right? Products get used. What was energy efficient back 12 years ago is not necessarily the same energy efficient product today. What was popular then is not necessarily popular today. So we take into account, for the seller's sake, the things that they said that they fixed. We also play devil's advocate and tell them the things that we see that need to be fixed, right? If I had a buyer and walked through the home today, they might want to do a new carpet. And my carpet guy charges for a property this size about $10,000. Which now, when we add this to this list, we're taking away from the value. So these are nice discussions to show a client where their starting point should be around. Because again, if there's more things that need to be fixed up, who's going to pay top dollar for things that need to be replaced or fixed, when today's clients really like, move-in ready, right? Can't get the $1 million if you've got $300,000 worth of work that needs to be done. Nobody's going to pay that. Now, once you guys refine the value, you're ready to now create a report. Now, here, when we go to create a report, hopefully this will click. Maybe. Come on. Huh. I think I locked up the system, or the system locked up on me here. Why won't you? There we go. When I do this, I'm going to follow an easy 5-step process. We're going to confirm the home facts. We're going to find our comps. The way we find our comps, we put in some information about the property, but most of the information is filled in: bedroom, bathroom, how far back we want to pull closed or off-market data. Here, take into account MLS data. Here's where the property is located at. So now I'm going to draw a shape around the property. Find my start. And then say, search this area. Here we found the comps. And now what we're going to do is we're going to look through these and select what we need. Now here we notice closed public record, meaning that the property wasn't listed at the time that it was closed, which is kind of nice. Again, dealing with a neighborhood that didn't have a lot of activity on the MLS. Once we select our comps, we update the valuation. And now we can create the report. Now, for your clients, we've got the seller's report. So this is for a seller. We got the seller report. Just to show you the sample, this is about a 78-page long report. Now, I know most of you go, oh my gosh, it sounds like a lot. It is, but it's highly detailed. You're going to have clients that really love looking at data. This is a great report for that. Here you can look at the various different reports that are here in this report. You can deselect what you don't need. But for those clients that want to look for everything, to simply have the reports, come down below, and then say run the report. And of course, this does this to me every once in a while, where let's see if it does this. Of course it did. So Don't know why it does that. Applies only to the email notification. Well, I don't want it, the email notification. So when these things mess up, this is the way it does that. Now, when that runs the report, this is a beautifully run report. It takes about 2 or 3 minutes for the report to appear. And you can then look at it. Well, let's see if we've got that property again. Maybe just going through some hiccups here. Confirm. Let's see if this works now. Nope. Guess I'm gonna have to talk to them about that glitch. Okay. So what should happen here is that the report will be created. Once the report is created, you can then open it up, view it, email it, everything. Okay. You know what? As much as I love you, love using your system. All right. So here, if I have, do I have one? These are different reports that you guys won't have access to. I apologize for that. So just know that you could do this. And it's amazing of what type of CMAs or what the CMA looks like. Really good at impressing people at a listing appointment, which is awesome. Another way that I love using RPR is finding property information abroad. So maybe you've got a client that's selling a property here, but is thinking about moving to a different state, right? Well, geez, you guys have the right to look for properties or give referrals, right? But how do you know of another agent in another state? Well, what we could do at this point is type in, say, the city or the state that they're looking in. Maybe they're looking in Austin, Texas. Now here, what we can do is not look or look for sale active in Austin. Run our search. Here, there are a lot of properties. And again, when I click on it, I can open up the full detail. And again, because I have access to the listing agent data, I can now give that listing agent a call, communicate with them. Hey, I've got a client that's relocating from California to Austin. They like this property. I'd like to refer this client to you because I'm not licensed in the state of Texas. Now, are they going to turn your client away? Probably not. But what are they going to do? Hopefully give you a referral fee. Ask them for one. So this is a really good tool to communicate and connect with other agents for your clients who are looking to buy elsewhere that you're not licensed in. And now what's going to happen is eventually maybe George has got somebody moving from Austin to California. Well, now that I've reached out, he's got a connection here in California. And if he paid me a referral fee, will I pay him one? Sure. We're now referring each other business, which is kind of nice. Are there any, let's see here. With that said, are there any questions?